Set perpendicular, right? So that if this were the surface and this were the body, we stand like this, right? Straight up and down, not at an angle like this or like this. So on a hill, we're going to maintain that same perpendicular stance generally, like this. Maintaining our balance, maintaining leverage, distributing our weight. We don't stand at an angle parallel to the hill, right? Our bodies don't stand parallel to the hill. Our bodies don't stand reverse to the hill. But we stand in a general perpendicular manner, maintaining that leverage, balance, and distributing weight. So keeping that in mind, let's take a look at how we're standing on this hill. Put your yeah, let's form it like a semicircle so we get everybody in here. Alright, well you may already be experiencing some sensations of dizziness or lightheadedness, maybe some difficulty in maneuvering around, and these are all real common associations, real common feelings amongst the people that visit the mystery spots. These are the physical sensations that I was talking about. You can see that we're all at an angle in here, right? If you get confused, you just look at your feet and you see that we're leaning back a little bit more than we should. So if I try to right myself, if I try to make myself vertical, then I feel that push or pull I was talking about. You can experiment with this in a couple different ways. You walk back and forth with your eyes closed. You're going to feel some slight resistance on your body. This house was built in 1940 for public tours, 53 years ago. So over those years, it started to lean down a little bit more and more, and the angle got more and more exaggerated, of course. It's been re-supported by the trees, and it's leaning up against these trees. So what's going to happen to us when we walk in there? It's going to exaggerate our lean. It's going to exaggerate most of these effects we've seen out here. And by that I mean these feelings of dizziness or lightheadedness, difficulty in maneuvering. All these will be intensified. So think of it as a vehicle of exaggeration that affords us a closer look, a more amplified view of the effects that are being caused by this phenomenon. So this is where this phenomenon meets exaggeration, and we're going to be a lot more aware of what's happening. We're going to be a lot more aware of the pull. Let's take a look at this demonstration.
Now
the point of this demonstration is to exaggerate the point that there is a push or pull on us in this direction, the northeast.
See who's leaning.
Now let's take a look.
That's
what's
a mystery.
Happening. You're looking at this and saying, hey, doesn't this violate every law, every rule of physics that I've ever learned?
Where's your level?
That point. Doesn't this violate every rule and every law that you've ever learned, right? Let's take a closer look at what's happening. I'm going to show you where level is on the board. Now that's a level surface now. This is a point where both ends of the board are equal with each other. Then how do we reach this conclusion? Because it has lost its forward momentum, right? It's just sitting here. Any further past this point, it will start to roll down. It will not return. Level. Level.
表示停止就是水平的。
这是水平的。Hushed silence as well with the crowd.
Look at the follow-away angle. It's kind of interesting to think about.
Clearly understruck with awe, the crowd looks on.
The hush follows the crowd. It's a difficult par 4. Steps up. walk into the house.
You've got to get the most out of the tour.
I'm leaning though. It's, I don't.
Come down here. Actually, the bravest among you has the handrail.
ですよね。で氷水置きっていうのはこのゴルフのボールが転げやすいため。いいですか。じゃあここにね。こういう感じかな。いいですか。
Alright, let's take a look at quickly. Let's take a look at something. Now, the
こ
floor
この方はよく見てて、
exaggerated
このボールが
by a
ね、
certain degree, right?
まっすぐ落ちないんですよ。
Accentuate.
こう落ちなくて、ぐっと引っ張られるんですよ。こうなんだけども。
You can see it's a lot more travel this direction than this direction, right? It's changing also. It was going back and forth, but it's starting to slip into an elliptical type orbit. Notice the direction it takes. It's going counterclockwise. In our hemisphere, in actually both hemispheres, in our world, there's a law that states that all motion should seek a certain direction according to the hemisphere that we're in, right? Counterclockwise in the southern hemisphere, clockwise in the northern hemisphere. It's called the Coriolis effect. That's why the water in your sink will spin down in clockwise rotation in our hemisphere. If you go below the equator, you go below Australia or whatever, it's going to go in the reverse direction if given the opportunity. So this should be going clockwise, in other words, not counterclockwise.
I haven't seen my feet looking straight down.
Okay, if you try to sway it out, that in here, let's move into the courtyard. Let's take a look at our height here. Who looks taller? Okay. And at first glance, it might seem to be a normal situation, right? With this end maybe being higher end of the board, sloping down to the low end, and at the same time giving us some reference on the house, how it's angled both down and away from us. Let's switch positions and see what happens. You can see it. Okay. Now who looks taller? He does. Right. And from in there, looking the other way. Who looks taller?
He does.
Okay. So it's not necessarily a perception. Okay, I want to stand it back a little bit further. Okay, there you go. So he's getting the same thing. I'm just trying to prove to you that this is a perception not necessarily limited to the direction that you're facing. You have to face a particular visual cue. You can see this from outside the house, looking this way, or from inside the house, looking this way. You can do this sort of thing if you want. You believe in doing that. It's still going to be the same thing. Now let's take a look at what the level has to say about this board. It shows us that, in fact, the opposite of what we're perceiving is true. That this is the low end of the board, and that this is the high end of the board. So when he just stepped up in space, what he really did was step down in space. So if anything, he should be shorter than I am because we're really standing like this in physical space. If we took everything away from us, we'd be like this. So you're perceiving this in exactly the opposite manner that you should be. Tendency again. There's more. Take that same exact counterclockwise twist right up there. So there are some weird growth patterns to these trees. A lot of these redwoods are leaning these weird angles. The trees, or the branches, excuse me, get this kind of twisted, curved nature. Around some of these trees. There's also real little animal activity within this circle of 150 feet diameter. About the only bird that will pass through is a blue jay, which I can hear one right now.